Hello, my name is Alexander Morari and I'm the founder of ITKeyMedia. This is ITKeyMedia's podcast about promising Central and Eastern European startups that are in pre-seed or pre-Series A stage right now. We'll have 5 rounds covering different areas of startup life that we think are of highest importance. Our guest today is Mihai Darzan, the founder of a company called Ringhel, based in Bucharest, Romania. The company has developed end-to-end ERP and CRM business automation software for power and gas companies, empowering them to become more efficient, and I understand with ambition also to expand to other industries and sectors, and also to other product line. We will discuss this later on. Hello, Mihai. Bună ziua.
Hello, Alex. Bună ziua.
Okay, great. So let's move on. Round number 1, company.
So our company was founded in 2011 and we started actually the business in 2014. The main business of our company is ERP and CRM for the power and gas markets. Basically, we are covering from one end to the other all the business flows for the supplying companies, trading companies, and producing companies from the time the end consumer enters into first contact with the company, making the offer, making the contract, receiving consumption data from the distributor, invoicing, receiving payments, making reports, buying electricity for the end consumers, and things like that. So one end to the other. We started to expand into the Romanian country, in Romania. And then when we expanded to a new country, we realized that there are some limitations to our technology. So in order to be easier for us to achieve our ambitions to scale to new industries and to new countries, we realized that instead of developing software, because we started to build the application from the first moment we put the first line of code in the platform, we imagined that we need to scale and everything needs to be adjusted. But we did not imagine the scale of the adjustments that need to be made for a new market, especially that we're targeting clients in regulated environments. So we needed to find a solution, and the solution was that instead of building software or of developing software from the ground up, we needed a way to configure software. So we started to internally develop a new technology, which is low-code technology, that allowed us to do exactly what I just told you. And we achieved great results with this internal technology, and we're still using it. And we started to migrate our software in this new technology. And the results that we achieved was we started to build software 10 times faster than initially, and with up to 45 times lower cost that it took us to build initially. So at that point, we realized that we were onto something. And at that point was the moment that we decided to create the Procesio technology, which is our technology, a no-code technology that empowers business professionals to build their own software.
Yes, okay, great. So having this in mind, Mihai, again, I will repeat the question. What do you think is the most promising for you to further expand Ringhel product lines and expand geographical or sector-wise, or you would bet on Procesio for the long run? And what I mean, it will be easier to, probably for the audience, but of course for the investors as well. Investors need specific products, specific horse basically to bet on. And it's easier to evaluate, to assess, and to calculate the potential yields and so on. What is of bigger promise for you, Procesio or Ringhel?
So basically, Procesio and Ringhel are into one company, and there are 2 divisions within the same company. But the horse that we are betting on is the Procesio technology, because it has the potential to scale internationally. It has the potential to change the way software is built. It is actually the normal, natural step forward in developing software. So that's why we are betting on this. But at the same time, the existing business, the existing division, the ERP and CRM, as I mentioned, we are migrating our existing software into this new technology. So not only that we're betting on this this new Procesio technology, but we're using it to migrate our software. And this existing division is going to transform from offering software in our and developing software with our own IP. We're going to be a service provider that is going to deliver end-to-end software, such as the software that we already have, but it will be easier for us to use partners, integrators, to expand faster, both to new countries and to new industries.
Yes, okay, interesting. So this is more or less looking logical right now. So it seems to me that what you are undergoing right now is an evolution from Ringhel to Procesio. And that's based on your own needs. And that's where you see the evolution of the whole development markets, right? Or tech market in the end. And that's what your clients might need. Interesting. How many founders you are? And by the way, just to make sure, you are now one entity, right?
Yes.
One entity with two brands. Okay. Do you plan to rebrand in the future to Procesio?
No, we have not thought at this point.
And you do not want to split the company into two, right? So that Procesio
No.
has its own legal entity and all the rights and commitments.
No, because the strategy that we have is integrated strategy. We have followed the way the big companies, the big unicorns, have come to be unicorns, because this is our goal, one of our goals. And we found out that one of the most major bottlenecks and pain points in their growth was offering support to their partners. So this is our strategy, to have this support integrated within our company. And this is the existing division, and the power horse of our company will be Procesio. It will be the technology that is going to drive growth, but it will need a division to support that growth, right? And this is the existing division. That's why our vision for the company, it's integrated. We do not want to split it because it helps us.
Yeah, okay, clear. So that's kind of a testing ground for your own Procesio strategies as well. Okay, interesting. So as far as the company, how many founders you have right now? And I understand in the whole company, right? Like how many founding team members you have?
We have 3 founding team members. Myself, I'm one of them, and I'm the majority shareholders with 80% of the company.
Say it again, 80%.
80, yes.
So you have what? Mihai, yourself, I mean, plus 2 people?
Mihai, Lucia, and Otilia.
Okay. Two ladies there. Interesting.
Yes.
And what are the, I'm sorry, I had to apologize for the surprise. Yes, but it is a little bit surprising. So let's move on. Let's say nobody will notice that. What are the division of functionalities or responsibilities in the founding team? Okay.
Okay, so I'm the CEO of the company. Otilia is the COO, the operation officer, and also has CFO roles as well. And the Lucia is on the business development part of the business.
Yes. Okay. So 3 founders, the CEO, COO, CFO, and BizDev. Interesting. What about the rest of the team? How many FTEs you have? How many ad hoc or contract-based and outsourced? And also, what's interesting, of course, what's the ratio between tech side and business development or marketing or sales side as well?
Yeah, so in total, we have, I think we are close to 40 FTEs. So actually 40 persons in total. We are still hiring because we just received a seed round last month. And we are hiring because we need to grow as fast as possible. And the way the team is divided, we have basically, as I mentioned, 2 divisions: the Procesio division, which is compounded of 12 persons, and the Ringhel division, which is compounded of the rest of the company. For the Procesio technology, we have the product design department, we have the front-end department, the back-end department, and the management. And for the Ringhel division, we have technical support, business development, software development, quality assurance, business analysis, and project management as a division. So to answer your question regarding what is the division between the business development and the actual product team, in the business development department, we have 4 persons.
Yes, okay. And you said that you are hiring right now as well. And what are the most challenging, or let's say critical roles you want to fill as soon as possible?
The most critical roles that we are trying to fill at this point are on the technical side, technical lead and architects. Those are the most challenging to find.
Yes, okay, interesting. So let's move on to round 2. We'll discuss product, business model, a little bit, the pricing as well. So here, let's focus on Processio, okay, if you don't mind, or Processio in this case. So I understand your strategy is to ride the wave of low code, no code kind of trend, and there are different forecasts and estimates that this will be the most like the predominant way of creating business applications. That's interesting. And what's the current state of your development of Processio product line, let's say, and what are the perspectives or what's the promise for the business by end of this year? Do you plan to switch all Ringhel products by end of this year, by end of next year? And
the current status is that we are at the MVP stage. We are working to get pilot projects. Even though we are at the MVP stage, the technology is quite powerful at this stage. And the target would be to have this migration process ready by the end of next year. So not this year, because we have a lot of platforms and functionalities to move. Hope that covered all your questions.
Yes, yes, indeed. I mean, in Ringhel ecosystem, you've created so many products and so many dimensions and product lines that definitely this is a very big challenge enough of its own to migrate your own products into Processio. How many clients you have right now? And those are relatively big companies. It's not an SMB kind of product, right?
Yeah.
How many paying customers you have right now, and what's the range of the price tag for the products on average, or a range from 2, more or less? That would be interesting.
Okay, so at this point we have 35 clients. We hope to finish the year with at least 40 clients, because we are in negotiation generally at the end of the year. All the budgets need to be closed, so generally that's the way, the point in time where we sell the most. In terms of licensing model, as you mentioned, we switched from lifetime licenses to yearly licenses, and the switch was made early last year in 2019. And at this point, the way we are pricing the license is per user per year, and the pricing depends on the module, but it's around from 4,500 to 6,000 or 9,000, depending on the module, per user per year. And on top of that, we have monthly subscriptions that cover maintenance, technical support, and legislative updates. And this is a very big, important aspect that our clients care about. It's around, depending again on the module, is from 300 euros per user per month to about 700 or 900 euros per user per month, depending on the module.
Did you manage to switch somebody from lifetime licenses to yearly as well? That's also...
No, we did not try to do that because it would have been a very disappointing discussion with our clients from both sides, probably. Yeah. We did not want to do that, but the new licenses that we sold even to existing clients were on this type of licensing, and also the new clients were on this type, are on this type of licenses. So we do not sell any more lifetime licenses, no matter to whom.
So let me just kick in. So you have so many models and different like levels of those models as well, that you have the privilege of like giving somebody a lifetime license to a model, and then basically welcome to your own ecosystem where you have dozens more, right? And then you,
that was our previous model, and we realized that this is not sustainable for a long period of time, because we liked that model because we were selling very high value licenses, and that translated into a very nice uptrend of our turnover. But we, as I mentioned, we realized that this is not sustainable and that we should care more about the recurring revenue. And for that reason, we took this decision knowing that at the moment we're going to switch that, the turnover is going to flatten, and it did. In 2019, you will see that it flattened. But we did that knowing that we're going to raise our recurring revenue, which raised with about 80%. So this year, in 2020, we have a monthly recurring revenue around 42,000 euros compared to 26,000, which we had last year at around the same period of time.
Yeah. Mihai, you mentioned several large corporates in oil and gas and energy sector. Some of them are not operating only in Romania. So I was asking myself why the guys are almost like monopolists, or let's say majority market kind of share holders in Romania. And I can't see anything about non-Romanian client markets, let's say, so clients outside of Romania. Was this just, you know, something I didn't notice, or that was your strategy to focus on Romania and grab a big portion of the market and only then seriously think of expansion?
You should know that we grew organically from the start. So basically, I should say that this year we started to think about aggressively expanding and growing in other fashion than organically as we grew so far. So for this reason, our software was that good that it took the majority of the Romanian market. And we realized that there was potential to expand, but we did not have the knowledge of how to do that expansion. So we tried to find a way to do that, and we found it by selling to an existing client that was in Serbia. So that's the way we expanded to Serbia. And having this experience, now we understand what it takes to expand to a new country.
Is it somehow limited by the legal framework and compliance, you know, compliance regulations in different markets as well? Is this big challenge for you in expansion?
It's a challenge. It's not a big challenge. It's a challenge because every country has its own regulations, and we need to adjust our systems to that particular regulations. But it's about let's say generally when we implement to a new client, it's about 10% customization. If we go to a new country, it's about 30% customization. So it's not a big challenge. But what we want to do, and this is actually the key aspect, we want to grow through partners, because we think that this is the way we can truly grow exponentially via partners. And we want to offer our partners the possibility for them to adjust our system to the new markets. And this is the reason for which we want to migrate our systems into the Procesio technology. And by doing so, we're going to shoot two rabbits at the same time.
Yeah, and you mentioned you will depend a lot on your partners in other markets to grow. Yes. What types of companies are your target partners for distribution? Let's say let's deal. Sorry, I'm sorry. Let's deal with that on the example of a specific country that you have on your targets right now. What's the next 1 or 2 countries you want to expand to?
Okay, so we have 2 approaches here to expansion. One is strategic, and the other one is let's say, how is the term, opportunistic, right? The strategic approach tells us that we should expand to the Eastern Europe because the legislations are very similar to what we already have implemented. And that means that we can expand easier with lower customization and faster implementation. And that makes sense. And the opportunistic approach is that whatever project comes our way and that makes sense, and it makes sense from many perspectives, we're going to tackle that. And we have discussions open in Germany, in Switzerland, in Guatemala, and other countries as well. And regarding your question, which are our target partners, basically there are three types of partners that we target. The first one are consultancy companies, which are international, and that would be a plus to have already experience in the power and gas markets, but not necessarily, because we target cooperation with them on the Processio technology as well, which is industry agnostic, and that's very important. The second
Mihai, by saying consultancy companies, do you mean what, the big four or
yeah,
like BCG and similar? I mean, Boston Consulting Group.
Yeah, Ernst & Young, companies like that, right?
Yeah,
Ernst
okay.
& Young, Capgemini, like those types of companies that we're targeting. And we even started a small partnership with Capgemini, which we intend to grow. The second type of partners that we're looking for are local partners, implementation partners, which want to implement different solutions to their existing clients. And the third type of partners that we're looking for are companies that offer complementary software solutions or services that are complementary to our own. And we have several partners in this area as well.
Mihai, just to be straightforward, the third group of potential partners probably is the group that has least chance and potential to work with you in the long run. What I mean is you have so many products and you have such big potential, as you say yourself, to cover all the needs of your company that you don't need any complementary products to your own gamma of products. I mean,
I would
like,
not say so.
Yeah.
I would give you some examples. For example, we have partnered with a company called Terracom, which offered SMS services, right? So we will not ever go to that area, and we want to partner with companies like that. Other example would be Enmac, which is spread around the Europe, having at least 100 companies in their portfolio, and they're offering a trading platform pre-closing the trading. So before trade is closed, we are never going to enter in that area. It's not one of our target interests to enter that area, right? They are complementary to what we're doing. And there are other examples like that.
Let's move on to round three, competitors and competition. This is the no-code, low-code space. Lots of competition, definitely. On low-code, and I mean, you could mention what, Zapier or GitHub, basically. Then Zoho, Salesforce are also on the low-code end.
On the low-code side, basically, those types of platforms generally target software developers. And you need to have a software developer mindset in order to use those platforms. Of course, it will accelerate the time, and it will be more easy to build software for a software developer, but nevertheless, you need to be a software developer. And in order to create enterprise-grade applications using low-code platforms, generally, it needs a lot of coding. On the other hand, the no-code space, there are platforms that are intended for citizen developers, and it's very easy to use them, but you cannot create enterprise-grade software using those no-code platforms, or you can create enterprise-grade only for a very limited space. So for the space that that platform is intended to, or industry or niche or whatever. What we're bringing on the table is the best of those two worlds. So we are merging no code with low code, having a top to bottom approach where business professionals can start to build their own applications, enterprise grade and mission critical applications, because this is our space in which we are targeting companies. And they can build their own applications, their own software for their day-to-day use. And then after they build it up to the level that both their expertise allows and the platforms allows from the technology development point of view, then they can pass the development to the software developers in the same platform, allowing real-time collaboration, empowering developers to focus only on the aspects that their expertise is more useful, not on all the things. Because if you look at enterprises at this point, the IT department is very clouded with all the cluttered with all the requests from business departments, and they do not have enough time to do the actual things that matter for the company, right? And we do not intend to replace software developers. We only intend to make their jobs more efficient and more focused, both for software developers and both for business professionals.
What are the industries you think are open for disruption by Procesio or Ringhel kind of approach? Or let's say Procesio approach. You have experience in oil and gas and energy, and yes, it's a very challenging environment just because of regulations and compliance and that's capital intensive businesses, I understand, and so on and so on. What are the next after this?
I'm telling you honestly, we are opportunistic because it's going to be very hard to enter into a new industry without having the expertise. And we want to be opportunistic and be very attentive to all the opportunities that are going to come our way, and to choose that opportunity that allows us to learn that industry, or to have a very powerful partner such as Capgemini or other big players in this space that is already established in an industry, and empower them to use our technology in that industry.
So speaking of your partners, these business consultancies, Big Four and so on, if you can share this, of course, and I really wonder, what's the arrangement for cooperation with them? Are they on success fee? Do you have to pay them, a monthly retainer for consultancy to your own company? What's the approach there?
At this point, the deal that we have is that we are going to be a prime in a contract, and they are going to be our subcontractants, let's call it like that, for the lack of better term.
So I'll have to push a little bit. Is this on success fee? Do you sign agreements, potential agreements with companies outside of Romania as lead service provider, and Capgemini or similar companies will be serving as agent, or you are part of their own contracts? Like, what's the approach? And again, success fee, retainer,
I think it's all of the above. So basically, why would a big company work with a small company? So I think that is the best question to answer for me. Basically, they need small service providers to cover the opportunities that they have, right? And if they find a very good service provider that is very good at covering those needs, and the clients are satisfied, and those companies, the service provider, have the option to close a deal with those companies, offer what they need, bring on the table services that they have and can offer, that means it is a win for them, and it makes sense for them to close this partnership. And we are in a similar case. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah. So I tried to read between the lines. So the answer is it's a success fee. Thanks. One last question in this round. Would you say companies like SAP and Oracle are under huge pressure by no-code, low-code?
All the companies are under pressure regarding this issue, because I think it becomes more and more apparent to everybody that this is the future. Even Gartner is saying that by 2024, so that means 4 years from now, 65% of the software is going to be written using no-code or low-code technologies. And that is huge, right? And I think everybody is in this pressure, and I think it's a race to see who's the winner, who's going to be the winner. And I think that we're going to be those winners.
It probably means that more and more aspects of our life, business, private or otherwise, will be covered by some kind of a code or technology or app or whatever. And so at some point, this just will bring to more, no code, low code environment or programming, so to say, as a natural evolution of the tech globally.
Yeah,
Would you agree
Alex,
with
so
that?
there's a research that shows that the current need for software using the current resources, meaning the developers, to cover those needs, are going to be covered in the next 50 years if they start working on them right now. So that is not sustainable. That means that we're losing a lot of opportunities, and that means that a lot of our needs are not met now. So that means that something needs to break, something needs to change. And I think that this is the change that the humanity needs at this point, to automate writing code. And this is what is no code and low code about, automating. So imagine that when the computer came and languages, programming languages were inaccessible to most of the humans, only a few were developers. That thing changed as the programming languages have gotten easier and easier to understand and to use. And basically, this is what no code and low code is doing. And this is what we're doing using Procesio. We're simplifying the way software is built to the level that every human, business human, is able to create their own software without being software developers.
To round up this round, basically what you want to say, and we both agree, I understand, that the evolution is from nothingness to complexity and diversity, and then from complexity, diversity to simplicity
Yeah.
of use and looks. Mihai, let's move on to round 4. Companies ups and downs. What would you say is the biggest success by now, let's say this year, 2020?
This year, I think the biggest success was the fact that we managed to close a seed round in less than 3 days. So we managed to raise 550,000 euros in less than 3 days. So that was a record for Romania on multiple levels.
What about the biggest failure or disappointment that you've had this year, 2020?
Whenever I fail at something, I do not feel that I have failed, but I only found the way that thing is not done, right? And I'm trying to learn from those mistakes. I was the type of person that used to learn only from his own mistakes, and I did a lot of them. But at this point, I think that I have changed a little bit, and I'm trying to learn from others' mistakes and try not to repeat my own. Yeah, so this year, I do not feel that we have suffered any failures or setbacks.
Let's move on to round 5, F3, we call it, the formula F3, which is funding for the future. So you have angels, you have seed just closed in July 2020, I understand?
It was 3 days after we launched the campaign, because the fundraising was through an equity crowdfunding platform here in Romania. And by the time we opened the campaign, it took us 3 days to close it, right? And it oversubscribed. So basically we closed the round in 9 hours, but then we decided to oversubscribe. It closed the next day, and then we oversubscribed with a smaller amount once more and closed it again, and that was it.
Tell me, why did you choose a Romanian crowdfunding platform, not British or American, like Seeders and similar?
Yeah, because it was easier. The amount of money that we wanted to raise was not a big amount of money, and we felt that the Romanian ecosystem is more than willing and to cover those types of investments, and they are eager to invest in types of platforms that we are. And I think it was the right decision.
Yeah, so you've closed your seed round, and what about your next financing round? When do you plan to have it?
We plan to have the next round in January next year, in 2021, and we're planning to raise 1.5 million euros.
Yes, and again, and that's for the whole company, I understand. And by the way, the legal entity is Ringhel or Processia right now?
Ringhel, and the
Ringhel,
Processia
yes,
is the
okay.
project,
Okay.
the product.
Yeah, so 1.5 million euro for the entire company that will, and the money will go for development of both Ringhel product lines and Processia, switch to Processia in the long run. Okay, so seems to me I found information that you were going after 3 million euros at your Series A round. And why do you have the change to 50% the initial amount?
Yeah, we changed this because we want to have follow-on runs. We know that the way we're going to achieve exponential growth is through successful and successive investments, and we want to not to be diluted too much for the next rounds. And we decided that it would be wiser to raise a smaller amount of money at this point, and then raise some more after the valuation of the company grows and after we have proven the things that we want to prove.
And speaking of dilution, by the way, what's the dilution by now, and what do you plan to have? I mean, as far as dilution comes, how much do you plan to dilute with this next round? That you would call a bridge round, or like pre-A or Series A? What would be your own definition? How you treat this?
Okay, so I will answer the questions in order. So in the seed round that we just did, we sold around 9% of the company, so around that figure. In January, we want to sell around 10% of the company. And the follow-on runs that we're going to do as a strategy would be to have around that figure, so that we can end up at the unicorn level, having the majority of the company.
What do you think is the single most important factor that will boost the company, or will increase the tempo of reaching the unicorn status? Just one factor. One factor. What is it?
Strategic partnerships.
Wow, interesting. So the whole conversation about these groups of partners for expansion takes on even more value, right? In this context. Interesting.
For sure.
What is the most ambitious goal you have until the end of this year?
By the end of this year, the most ambitious goal is that we start a pilot project using the Processia technology. So this is very important for us and for me personally.
Yeah, Mihai, good luck with that. Thanks a lot. That was a great conversation. All the best, and hope to see another unicorn from Romania sooner than later. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you.
I think that was a great chat, my friends. So Ringhel, everyone, with their future product Processia that wants to become a leading player in the no-code, low-code reality that we are approaching quickly, they believe. They have started the expansion geographically and will match it with expansion into new industries as well. To make this happen, the company plans to raise 1.5 million euro in January 2021, and they target a no more than 10% dilution. Mihai, the CEO of the company and majority co-founder, is sure that exponential growth of the company is just around the corner, and they will quickly join the CEE Unicorn Club. And we wish them all the best on this path. That's it from us for today. Share your comments about the company or any ideas that you have about this podcast, please, okay? If you liked what you saw, follow, subscribe, or share at your own risk. La rivedere, bye-bye. All the best.